As the year comes to a close and we bid farewell, and maybe a fuck you to 2024, it's the perfect time to look back and celebrate the albums that shaped the soundtrack of the last 12 months. Here are our top 20 albums released in 2024. Alkaline Trio, Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs. Kicking off 2024, Alkaline Trio's Blood, Hair, and Eyeballs feels like a fever dream of nostalgia, evoking the band's signature blend of macabre storytelling and infectious melodies, delivering a gritty yet polished punk rock experience. The album sees the band embrace darker lyrical themes reminiscent of their earlier work for a blood-pumping collection that underscores why Alkaline Trio remains integral to punk rock. Idols, Tank. In 2024, Idols took the ethos of the title of their 2018 record, Joy as an Act of Resistance, and deeply applied it to the foundation of Tank. In a world dominated by fear-mongering headlines seeking to divide, the phrase, "Love is the thing," rings throughout the entire album and rings true for listeners in every corner of the world. Along with the sonically aggressive odes to growth and love, Idols is finally getting their flowers from the mainstream music community. The band is set up for not one, but 3 rock Grammys.
Seen you exploding from chrome hooves. Where we're going, we don't need glue.
No Offense, Growing Up on the Internet. No Offense's Growing Up on the Internet is an unfiltered exploration of identity, self-expression, and the chaos of navigating adolescence in the digital age, blending biting dark humor and heartfelt introspection. Tracks like Scumbag deliver anthemic energy while also calling out transphobia, making the album feel like a rally cry for the misfit generation. Era, Cure. Coming off their most successful record to date, Era had their work cut out for them when it came to writing something bigger and bolder on Cure. But somehow they managed to pull it off in a huge way, progressing and evolving their sound while never forgetting what has made fans become some of the most dedicated in metalcore over the past 5 albums prior to this release. This is Era's best, most cohesive work to date. Eminence, The Black. Equal parts hauntingly heavy and beautifully melodic, Eminence's The Black is a mellow death masterpiece, following in the footsteps of their idols turns friends/tourmates and fellow Swedes, In Flames. Violins and string sections over blistering riffs, breakdowns, and soaring choruses work in such an epic cinematic way we've rarely, if ever, seen in metalcore. Their sound not only feels like it belongs as the score to an epic Academy Award-winning drama, but it also perfectly conveys the dark depths that one feels and goes through while dealing with depression. See You Space Cowboy, Coup de Grace. See You Space Cowboy is having the amazing breakout year that they truly deserve. Coup de Grace marks the band's 3rd studio album and is their most auspicious piece of work to date. Connie Scarbosa masterfully intertwines soaring nostalgia-inducing emo vocals and passionate screams alongside radical metal riffs to make an electrifying sasscore record. Knocked Loose, You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To. Plain and simple, Knocked Loose's You Won't Go Before You're Supposed To is not just one of the greatest records within the metal genre, it is one of the greatest heavy albums of all time. This record is to 2024 heavy music that the Black Album was to Metallica in 1990. The sound, the composition, the urgency, sheer chaos, and intensity throughout, truly everything about this album is unrivaled. This is a perfect 10 out of 10 album with 0 skips.
Suffocate!
Wage War, Stigma. When Wage War vocalist Britton Bond said on Rock the Walls in May 2023 that there was a bit of an industrial feel to what they were writing, and what would eventually become the 5th studio album Stigma, we were excited to find out what that might mean. To say it blew any expectations of what he might have meant by that would be an understatement. Simultaneously the band's heaviest and most accessible release to date, Wage War maintains their magic of consistently being able to find the perfect balance of stadium caliber rock and metal choruses and explosive breakdowns. Scene Queen, Hot Singles in Your Area. Everyone here at Adobe Radio knew that Hot Singles in Your Area would be a top contender for Album of the Year. After all, tracks including 18 Plus and Pink Push-Up Bra are true works of art juxtaposed with punchy lyrics. Scene Queen's commitment isn't just to heavy riffs and glittering vocals for her trademark bimbocore, it's also proving time and time again that femininity is not a weakness, it is the greatest strength that young people possess. Frankly, it's inspirational to see an artist emerge who encompasses feminine rage, fiery horniness, and radical acceptance, and so deeply connects with her pink-clad audience. In a political era dominated by misogynistic, homophobic, racist appointees and their weird internet influencers, this album serves as a great reminder that non-men don't have to go backward and bow down to patriarchal standards.
Pink wristbands on the gas lips, bras hanging on the bus. Yeah, you get a lot of girls, but not one is 18 plus.
The Home Team, the Crucible of Life. While on the debut Adobe Radio Summer School Tour, the Home Team unleashed their blistering third record, The Crucible of Life. The album showcases the band's sonic evolution, blending infectious pop-injected hooks with sharp production and captures their maturing prowess. The group, defining their style as heavy pop, crafts a sound brimming with charisma and high-octane, danceable energy. Seriously, try not to move your hips while listening to this album, it's impossible. If you're not already shaking your ass to The Crucible of Life, turn on loud and brag immediately.
I didn't mean to turn you up, but it feels like there's nothing at all.
Speed, only one mode. An instant classic in the entire history of hardcore music, Speed has taken hardcore by storm worldwide. One of the most hyped and talked about bands in the year leading up to the release of Only One Mode, this Aussie quintet not only lived up to the hype and expectations or simply knocked it out of the park, they fucking obliterated it into space. This record will have listeners headbanging, moshing, and two-stepping for decades to come.
Lift the star that you choose. My life, my attitude.
4 years strong, Analysis Paralysis. After 2 decades of setting the pop-punk stage for many bands to come, 4 Year Strong has earned every right to coast on legacy status. Yet, with their latest album, Analysis Paralysis, the band proves that they are quite the opposite of complacent. This album title is a fitting reflection of the moment. There is no time to freeze. There's music to be made! Clocking in at just a little over 30 minutes, she's tiny but she's mighty. The pace is relentless, there is no time to analyze or catch your breath, and it's fantastic. 4 Year Strong proved once again that they can deliver the goods with an even fresher sound than before, and the future comes fast and it is limitless.
You chill me up and spit me out.
Foster the People, Paradise State of Mind. Indie rock lovers really had a dazzling year of new releases to add to their playlists. We have fully reverted back to our 2014 Tumblr era. One indie rock album that took over our 2024 was Foster the People's Paradise State of Mind. Moving away from their modern synth tones, the duo took a blast to the past with inspiration from disco and funk. Genuinely, this band has made an album that first and foremost speaks to them and their tastes. Stand Atlantic, Was Here. Stand Atlantic began their Was Here album rollout all the way back in 2023 with singles like Kill Her and Sex on the Beach. The record was 100% worth the wait. Was Here ups the ante beyond pop punk and features electronic and even hyperpop elements at the forefront. All in all, this record confirmed what we already knew to be true. This is Stand Atlantic's world and we're just living in it. The Dare, What's Wrong with New York? It's safe to say that indie sleaze is making a massive comeback. Can a culture and lifestyle so prevalent in the early 2010s ever surpass its peak without a particular set of artists that pioneered it to begin with? The 1975 Arctic Monkeys and Lana Del Rey were key figures in the soundtrack to the movement. If you bottled this entire era and opened it in the year of 2024, it would be The Dare. The record is a raunchy grunge pop effort at its core. The Dare offers a twist of nostalgia in perfectly executed modern electro indie pop, and it is just as whip smart as it is risque. If you were around for the indie sleaze days in their prime, or you just wish you could have experienced it, you will love The Dare's What's Wrong with New York all the same.
You're invited, it might get violent. Dance through the sirens. You're invited.
Destroy, Rebuild Until God Shows, Until God Shows. Led by Chioda's frontman Craig Owens, Destroy, Rebuild Until God Shows' self-titled album, Until God Shows, is a striking showcase of post-hardcore intensity and razor-sharp songwriting. The album thrives on emotional turmoil, with punchy instrumentation from crushing riffs and electrifying melodies perfectly complementing Owens' commanding vocals. Tracks like Hunger Pains and Malice explode with blistering intensity, while The Sweet Misery blends heartfelt vulnerability with soaring choruses. Lyrically potent and thematically cathartic, Until God Shows grapples with redemption, resilience, and the darker edges of the human experience. Make Them Suffer, Make Them Suffer. Recorded and written almost entirely within the span of 2.5 weeks of studio time between tours, Make Them Suffer's self-titled records is a defiant statement of metalcore magic. Each track on the record brings its own creative sound and vibe throughout. This new era of Make Them Suffer is by far their best, and there's no better shining example of that like the album closing Small Town Syndrome among the best tracks the band has ever written. State Champs, State Champs. State Champs dropped their heater of a self-titled record just in time for the end of the year. The album starts with a hard-hitting song, The Constant, that immediately sets you up for the story of relationships, business, platonic, life partner, all included. Throughout the records, you hear familiar classic Champs riffs mixed with a little bit more fuzz and 90s influence. You can even pick up on some callbacks to past records, while gaining a fresh perspective on what the new songs are talking about. Try not to smile while listening to Hell of It, it is damn near impossible.
Staying up all night, just to see what you like.
Letdown, Be Okay. Blending confessional, emo lyricism disguised as arena-sized rock, Letdown's Be Okay delivers a deeply personal and vulnerable exploration of the human condition. At its core is mastermind Blake Coddington's soaring vocals, which guide listeners through themes of abandonment, heartbreak, self-doubt, and ultimately finding the strength to be okay. From the gut punch opener Hate Myself to the emotionally charged Bad Childhood, Be Okay is unapologetically honest while navigating a plethora of personal battles. Poppy, Negative Spaces. A record featuring some of the heaviest songs and breakdowns of the year, along with straight-up pop bangers, Negative Spaces is Poppy at her absolute best. Continuing to push the envelope of heavy music in a unique way that is truly one of a kind, it has more than a couple of handfuls of holy fucking shit moments throughout. It's clear that working together with new collaborator and producer Jordan Fish, formerly of Bring Me the Horizon, brought out the best work from Poppy yet. This record further cements that there is nothing out of bounds, and that Poppy can truly do it all. The insane vocal versatility and performance throughout are simply mind-blowing.
Sentiment is overblown. All the lies are stuck in my throat.
And that's a wrap on our favorite albums of 2024 here at Adobe Radio. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let us know, what was your favorite album this year?